I don't know about you, but I find connection in December particularly important. But I've learned something over the last month that I hadn't really considered before. For me, micro connection, momentary clicks between two people, they've become a rich source of satisfaction in my life. And now I've begun to seek those moments out, recognizing that not only do I benefit and take joy in those, but so does the other person. And nothing gives me more pleasure than to see them light up at my presence. I have 3 teeny-weeny stories today to show you what I mean. My first story is about the recycle guy. Yes, you heard that right, the recycle guy. Now, what could I say about the recycle guy? Well, nothing until this month. Here's how it went. I've been laid up with a broken leg. And when it first happened, I was pulling my hair out about the basic chores in my life that I could no longer do. I was quite surprised, really. I knew I couldn't drag the garbage cans to the curb the way I'm supposed to every other week. So I called the garbage company. And they said, no problem, we'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. And they did. They've been coming to my yard where the garbage cans are and hauling them to the truck, emptying them, and bringing them right back. So nice of them. But here's the latest iteration. I try to lean out of my door and say thank you, and that's what I did the last time. And the recycle guy, it was him this time, said, oh, how are you doing? How's that broken leg going? Can I break down those big boxes for you? And I said, oh, I'm doing fine. I so appreciate this. This is just so nice of you. He hauled the blue bin to the truck, emptied it, and brought it back. Next thing I know, he's grabbed my snow shovel and he's shoveling my steps. How sweet is that? And yeah, I thanked him again, and I could see how pleased he was that we'd had that little moment. Maybe all day he drives that truck around and doesn't get to talk to anyone, except when he's being ordered to do things. And there we had a moment of almost neighborly connection. I'll never forget it. My second story I'll call The Mailman and the Mountain. It starts in a ridiculous but very problematic way. A couple of weeks ago, I heard this enormous crash outside. I looked, and there was a pickup truck in my yard. And my first thought was, my mailbox. I had only just installed it. And sure enough, my mailbox had been nuked across the driveway. I wasn't really concerned about the driver, to tell you the truth. I was very concerned about my mail. Here I am laid up, and I really depend on it for delivering packages, things I need. So yes, I was royally ticked. Now there's a dimension to this problem that might not be immediately obvious. We are at the very beginning of winter. This is exactly the wrong time to lose a mailbox. Why? The ground is frozen. And it'll be like that for, 4 months. It will be impossible to install a new one. Well, maybe a big machine could do it, but that's unlikely to happen. So there I was, no mail. One day I happened to be outside and I saw the mailman delivering mail around the neighborhood. I was impressed, to tell you the truth. He was on foot. I was able to get his attention, pointed to my, gone mailbox, and said, that's my house, the little house, and my mailbox got nuked. And what did he say? Oh, I love that mailbox. It fits most packages. And I thought to myself, well, that's an interesting perspective. That's why I got it. But so glad to hear the mailman appreciate it. No matter. I explained I was pretty much laid up and had no way to get my mail, and I kind of counted on it. And he told me that he has a somewhat persnickety boss, a really persnickety boss, and he wasn't allowed to deliver mail unless the mailbox was on a pole. I told him I really understood, and moreover, I knew about persnickety bosses. At this point, the micro connection was really ratcheting up. He explained he was under so much stress in his office as a mailman that to blow off steam every time he got a chance, every day off, he would climb a specific mountain. And I asked him which one, and he told me, and I said, oh, I climbed that when I was a teen. I said, how long did it take you? And he said, 70 minutes. And my mouth must have dropped open. I told him when I was a teen, as I recall, it took a whole day there and back. And he made a little segue into how much that bit of hiking helped him get through his week. And I told him I was a through hiker, back in the day. And I appreciated that hiking could do that for you. Oh, he was so pleased. And then he said, you know, I'm not supposed to deliver to your house, but you have a bunch of mail piling up at the post office. I'm just going to bring it to you. And so he did. One day he came by with his arms full. And I was there to greet him and thank him. And he was pleased all over again. This is the kind of micro connection I'm talking about. Just brief moments when two people can acknowledge each other and recognize that they have a place in the world, that they can get empathy for where they are. They can get understanding, fellow feeling. That's all it took, 3 minutes. As I say, microconnection has more and more drawn my attention as a way to find healing and brightness in the universe. If that interests you too, you might want to watch from my live streams because that's what they're all about, chat and connection. It's microconnection. And by the way, it really helps if you hit the subscribe button for this channel and hit the like button. It does me good. Story number 3. This one developed out of an internal conflict I had. And this time, this year, I decided to go with the conflict instead of trying to get rid of it. I'm going to call it the meeting of the minds at the shoe store. And here's how it went. Many of you know I've been laid up for a while with a broken leg. My big moment came a couple of weeks ago when I was able to remove the boot and permitted to drive again. The first thing I did was to drive to a shoe store. I wanted some really cushy and sturdy shoes I could wear in the house as my leg healed further. So I got myself a pair of shoes. The guy was super helpful. We got something that perfectly matched my situation. I was very pleased with the item and with the help I'd had. But you know how it is. Sometimes when you buy something, you go home and you look and see what the price was on Amazon. And what I noticed, the price on Amazon was quite a bit lower than what I had spent. It was $35 lower. That's a lot of groceries for me. Now, I wouldn't have minded a bit lower because the fellows at the shoe store certainly earned their pay. Not just because they'd sold me a pair of shoes, but because they helped me find the right pair. There's value in that. So I was willing to pay extra for that service. I was queasy about $35. So I decided to do something I'd never done before. Instead of just returning the shoes to the shoe store and buying another pair from Amazon at the price I preferred, I went back to the shoe store with those shoes and engaged in a conversation about my conflict. Now, the manager wasn't there the first time I went, and I'm sure they'd never thought I'd show up again, but I did. When I went back an hour later, there he was. And I put it to him. I said, I'm really conflicted because I don't want to return these shoes to you. You guys did a great job. But my dilemma is they're a lot cheaper online. A lot. I said, I'd be so happy if you cut my price by $10 or $15. I don't need the whole $35. But if we could have a meeting of the minds on this, that would work really well for me. And he said, and I in no way expected this. He said, oh, no problem. We'll discount it the whole $35. He said, I checked with the shoe company, and that shoe is being discontinued within the next month. So I have to sell them all at a discount. And that was a great meeting of the minds in that moment. I certainly got what I needed, and he seemed to too. He kept the sale, and I resolved my conflict. My sense of this encounter, it was warm and fuzzy all around. I had nothing but compliments for this store as I walked in to ask for the discount. What I had to say would definitely make a manager happy. And he seemed so pleased and surprised that I'd actually come in and then come back in to navigate the conflict. His employees watched. I had clearly placed value on them as well. That was an example of a micro connection that, until that very day, I would never even have considered. So those are my 3 little December micro connections. In each one, I extended myself a bit, but so did the other person. And they made me realize people don't necessarily need a big connection, any kind of drama, in order to have their lives brightened a little bit, refreshed, acknowledged, and feel wonderful about it. And my little experiment with these magic moments, for sure it's going to continue. And maybe it'll work for you too. That's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk soon, all right? See you then.